Hello there survivors and welcome back to another video in ARK Survival Ascended. Today I've built this all-in-one castle base on Ragnarok using the castle craft structure cosmetics, which is of course a really good one, so you can even transform your normal structures into a beautiful castle looking build even if you're playing unofficial. So that's the only skin you'll really need. I've used a few others for decoration, some of them free, some of them premium, but those are of course optional because you could always switch out the decorations with something else. Besides that, I've also used some JV8's landscaping for all the greenery details around the place and a little bit of the castle craft decor. And the goal for this base was to create something that truly feels like a base that offers it all whilst also bracing that medieval castle vibe. Of course, it's always easier to do this with like big modern bases, but I think this base offers you all the space you might need. It's got some stables for your smaller / early game tames. It has a whole dino pen below in the basement for even some of your bigger creatures like Rexes, so you can do some breeding in the safety of your own castle. And it has plenty of space inside for storage, crafting, even the bigger utility stations like the industrial forge or the replicator can easily fit inside. There's a teleporter, even a little graveyard to remember the lost companions along the way, and of course you've got some aviary spots up in the towers to park your flyers and much more. It's just a really nice castle, some cozy vibes there as well. It even has a lovely little greenhouse, and just in the entirety I'm quite glad with the way that this whole castle came together. And yeah, I think it looks quite cool. Hopefully you like it as well. Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be working on making a full step-by-step build tutorial for this one very soon too. Of course, as always, if you enjoy seeing these builds and you want to continue to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and feel free to leave suggestions for future builds down in the comments below. Now, first of all, the location. I am here on Ragnarok and I've built it right over here at this place. It's very close to one of the castles on the map, close to Viking Bay, on one of these high cliffs, because there's a decent amount of flat-ish space here that is quite easy to use for building. And yeah, we can see quite a big castle, so there's different sections to this. First of all, we have a little stables here to the side. We have a nice big tower with an aviary on top for some of your flyers. We have another tower that also includes a little spot for some of your flyers at the very top. We have the main keep, which has all of the main storage and crafting needs, and then we have a nice house to the other side too, which has some cozy vibes, your bedroom, and also a little bit of your crafting needs in there. So again, it kind of offers everything, and the best thing of course to do is to take a quick look around it all to see what it's like. I really like the way that the whole thing came together. I tried to add a bunch of details with these little side additions, and then of course also here along the sides we've got some of these details, which is some of these statues from the Castlecraft cosmetic standing tall along the sides, kind of creating a little bit more interest here along the sides of the castle, because I needed to raise up the whole castle foundations to make sure that we had a decent sized dino pen below. And then you can see we have those details going all the way around. The castle craft cosmetics of course offer a nice tier of structure sets like the settler village, the castle and keep and stuff. Everything is there so that you can get all the little things that you need. But yeah, let's start over here with a nice little stables. I've got some horses in here, thought that was fitting. So yeah, we have small little stables that you could park, again, some of your smaller tames, using some double doors as the entrances, because there's some nice variants here which are perfect for stables, which kind of make these doors half height, which of course feels much more fitting for the stables. And there's a decent amount of space in here, so you could also of course have some parasols and stuff like that in here quite easily. The most important thing is kind of everything needs to be able to fit through a double door frame, because otherwise they won't quite fit inside. But yeah, I quite like the look of all this. It's using the new settler tier, so yeah, we have those nice archers. going on. And then, of course, nice slanted roof here using some combination of the settler tier and the village skins, which I think looks quite nice together. And also it has a nice contrast with the castle walls behind it, because of course there is already a lot of castle walls going on here. Then here on the front, of course, we have the big staircase going up. It's actually using ramps with the stair variant to get all the way up here. And then right here in the front we have the main gate into the castle grounds. But we actually also have two gates along the sides. We have one right over here and another one right over there. And this is access to the Dino pen layer. So basically the entire basement can be used for your creatures. We have a mega lab here with the Golden Dynasty skin on it. We have a crawl system here, but yeah, many people of course use this to get some easy kibble. So we have the grinder here. I added some torture devices with the Castlecraft Decor mod, which has some really disturbing options, but I felt like it fit the cruelty of a machine like this. So that's right over here in the corner, and then you will see there's actually a decent amount of space here for a bunch of creatures. So I added a bunch here in the middle. You can see Dinosuchus, we have the Gigantoraptor here, we have some UTs as well as some Rexes. I'm also using all the paleo mods, so you have variants as well as complete overhauls, of course, with the paleo Rexes. And you got some Thylas here as well, and basically all the breeding needs would be down here. So we have incubators, we have some other spots if you want to do some manual hatching, we have cryo fridges, we have the tech generator powering it all with the Castlecraft Cosmetic on it. And yeah, basically this is what you would use for your breeding projects. As you can see, Rex-sized creatures can easily still fit inside. Anything bigger than that is unfortunately not gonna fit. And then we have this other gate that we saw right here too. So you have some decent ways to access this all. And then there's actually on the inside also two ways to get up. This one goes into the main keep, and then all the way on the other side we have access to that tower at the side. We also have a few beds down here if you want to have a quick respawn using, of course, the Castlecraft skin on the bunk bed. And we have a little bit of storage around. I also use the wall and floor deco mod because it has even the drakeling chests as a bit of decorations, which I think is quite nice. So yeah, let's look up all this and let's enter the castle through the normal means. So let's walk up the stairs into the castle itself. And again, try to add a bunch of detail here with the flags, as well as, of course, all the greenery around. And, of course, these awesome little statues from Castlecraft itself. We have a nice well here, and then we can enter the main grounds. And the main grounds offer quite a bit. We have, of course, this tower right here. We have that main building. I really love all the little details in this little courtyard. We have, yeah, the main building, then we have the greenhouse attached to it. Also this little building connecting the tower, forming a little hallway here to that other courtyard on the other side. We have a water well here, of course. We have the transmitter here with the Astraeos cosmetic skin, which is quite a nice way to turn it into something a little bit more neutral. We have a medium teleporter with the Castlecraft skin, and one of the variants lets you add these awesome statues, which is definitely a nice way to add some details. We have some creatures out here as well on the courtyard, and these are actually feeding troughs with the skin from the Golden Dynasties, which is very, very cool to add a bit of detail. We have some campfires here with the Astraeos skins, because, yeah, those braziers are just very cool. And then this is that side tower that we have. I turned it into a little bit of a library to just kind of fill it up, but you could, of course, do whatever you want with this. And then if we go down the staircase, we will actually get into the bottom here, back into where we just were with all the creatures. We've got a nice industrial forge here just to kind of show how big this space is, and you could definitely do a decent amount still within just this tower itself. It's got quite a decent amount of space in it, and it's kind of also the way I wanted to design it. Technically, you could start off, you know, just building a few parts of this castle whilst just slowly collecting the rest of it. And I think for the tutorial, I'll try to build it in such a way that you could actually do that. So for example, start with the small stables, then maybe build this tower next to it, and slowly expand it to include the rest of the keep around it, so that you could actually use the base whilst you're still working on it. Because of course in survival, it will take a little bit before you can finish the entire castle. So we're all the way here at the top, and you can see there's a decent amount of space here for a bunch of your flying friends. So yeah, you can have them nicely parked here. Quite a nice big tower using some dino gates, of course, to create these awesome arches, and the battlements as well. Just makes for a really cool design, in my opinion, and quite a nice statement piece for the whole thing. I think just to, yeah, really be a nice sight to see. So then the rest of the courtyard is relatively simple. There's a decent amount of space here if you want to park something bigger here, or you know, you maybe have some bigger creatures that you need to be breeding for a moment. You could of course still do that in the courtyard. There is a decent amount of space, especially if you include the space for the teleporter too. Then over here we have the little cozy greenhouse attached to the side of that bigger main house, and yeah, it's just a nice cozy place to do a little bit of growing your plants. I added some additional JVH just to make it even greener in here. But yeah, it's a lovely cozy greenhouse with the full greenhouse effect, just using the skins to change the look, which is of course always a nice way to kind of hide that greenhouse. But it is in fact fully effective and making sure that the crops grow at the higher speeds, which is of course always convenient. And I do actually really like the way it looks over there. Then we have the rest of the castle grounds. So what we do is we follow this archway. You actually do have the option to go into the tower or into the building right here, but you also have this other little courtyard here, and this right here, this corner, is one of my favorite corners here. Just the layers to it with that connecting piece, and then the main building there, and this little side entrance here, and then we have this main tower sticking out. And we also have, of course, access to the main keep here. We have access to that building. It's just a really convenient spot over here. And then down here we actually have a nice tiny little graveyard cemetery. So you could have some of your fallen tames here, remember them so you don't forget the amazing adventures you had together. And we also have some statues from the sculpture catalog Cosmetic, which has a great variety of awesome statues to use. And of course, a bunch of greenery to bring it all to life. Cozy cabins for the grass skin on the ceilings, which is definitely another great one to use. But otherwise, you could just paint some thatch and it would still look like grass as well. But yeah, gives you a nice little garden cemetery bit. Of course, if you don't want the cemetery, you could just make it into a garden, have a little bit of greenery and a nice spot to relax. But I also like that it is slightly lower than the rest, just to add a little bit more depth and interest to the whole place. So then let's go into the tower first. I've got a bunch of bottles down the first layer here because I didn't really know what else to do. But yeah, you have again a decent amount of space in here, and you've got quite a few floors to utilize. So we have a bunch of treasure on this floor. It also has a connecting hallway into the other building. Of course, we've got some cryo fridges in there in this case. And yeah, for the rest, it's kind of just, you know, whatever you want to do with this tower. There's a lot of space in the base, as you'll see. I decided that there's 2 places for tribe mates to log out and sleep if they want to live in the tower. They also have a small little balcony to enjoy the views for their surroundings. Yeah, and of course have some bigger windows also looking out on the rest of the courtyard. But in general, you probably want to use this mostly as well to get access to the top here, which has some pterodons, sparked up. So, you know, you can still use this. Let's me just demonstrate. You can just fly in. It is quite narrow, of course, but yeah, that's why for pterodon-sized creatures, you can still use this. Probably anything bigger is not really going to work. But yeah, you do have a decent amount of space there. You could even do a little bit of breeding for your flies up here if you wanted to. Or, of course, use it for something else. It's just a nice little tower addition here to add some more details. And, of course, you have your main aviary already over there too. Then, now that we've seen the tower, let's go into this house, which is quite cool. Here at the bottom, we have a little bit of like a kitchen area. We have some cookers here. We have a bunch of storage around, barrels too, just kind of like a storage basement. But we also have a nice kitchen area here with the grill. Mostly all using the Astraeos cosmetics for a lot of these, especially these cookers. I really like the look of, making it look like we're making some wine here. And then this one is the cooker with the castle craft skin, which also looks quite cool indeed. So yeah, we kind of have all the kitchen related stuff here, including a nice fridge all the way down here. Then this staircase leads up a little bit. This connects back down to the tower if you want to go there. And then all the way up here, we get into a cozy living room. So we have the fireplace here. We have nice places to sit and just relax and enjoy, you know, the life in your castle base. Got a pyromane to power the flames, always useful, and a little bit of storage here already. But more importantly, we have a cozy bedroom up here. So all the way up here, you've got a cozy little bedroom. Oh, I've got a cryo fridge to make it fit a little bit more. But yeah, we have nice little house basically here that you could use in whatever way you wanted to. I decided to go for a little bit more of the cozy vibes here. And this also leads into the main keep. So the main keep can have all of your storage. These are all dedicated storage with the castle craft skins. We have some vaults here. We have a crafting station with more storage along the side. We have the industrial forge here. This one is using the Amissa skins, but there's actually a lot of cool skins for those. We have some linked storage. We have access to our balconies here on both sides of these, so that you can, you know, just access the balcony, or maybe park a flyer in there if you really wanted to. This is actually the grinder with the Viking builders cosmetic. Which looks quite cool, to be fair. I like when you can transform them into something more fitting your style and the medieval vibes, of course. You want something more like this for sure. We have more storage back here, so decent amount of storage. And again, this connects back into where we have all our creatures, so you always have an easy way down there. And then all the way up here, we have more room. We have the tech replicator with the Astraeos skin, which looks absolutely amazing. We have a bunch of vaults here for a bunch of your storage. We have some chem benches here with the Astraeos skins. We have the fabricator as well with the Astraeos skins. And just in general, this would be like your main crafting and storage room in general. So I decided to turn the entire keep into like a main crafting and storage base. But you can see there's still a decent amount of space left here, so if you really wanted to go all out, you could definitely fit in a bunch of different things into this one build. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers all the space that we have. So I think it's a pretty cool castle base with all the space you could probably need, and maybe even a little bit more, and definitely a good base even if you have a few people in your tribe. And I just really like the vibes in general of the way that this turned out, with the little cozy stables, the greenhouse, the different tiers of buildings. I think they all fit quite nicely together. The rough layout of this place was actually inspired by a castle that I saw in Belgium last month when I was there on a quick little trip. And yeah, I thought that's quite a nice layout, because it is not the biggest castle. Like, it is not a giant castle. It's quite compact, even though it is still a decent big build. But this way you should still be able to build this unofficial, I'm pretty sure, especially if you use as many big walls as possible. And of course, probably have to leave out a little bit of the decorations that I went crazy with, but I think you should still be able to get most of this whole build unofficial. At least that's what I tried to go for. But even so, I mean, I think it makes a pretty cool base with a bunch of cool and useful space as well. If you want to embrace that medieval feeling, I think this one, yeah, has a lot to offer. So let me know if you like what you've seen today, and of course if you'd like to see a full step-by-step build tutorial, I'll try to work on that as soon as possible. I'm trying to get this all done before Valguero actually releases, because of course then we'll probably be busy diving in, exploring that for new and awesome build opportunities. But yeah, let me know what you thought. If you enjoyed this video, of course, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you again in the next video stream. For now, goodbye.